As you guys may or may not know, the Fatui Harbingers are a high council consisting of exactly 11 members. They are basically a delegation of diplomats and are in short the highest ranking officers / villainous organization who work under the command of Turista, who is the career archon of Snezhnaya, and they work to fulfill Turista's vision for a perfect world, because that always works well. Generally, if anyone says that work trying to make a perfect world, usually they're a bad dude. Just letting you know that. To cut it even shorter, they're the bad guys. Like stealing your chocolate milk from your fridge kind of bad. Yeah, these characters play a fairly important role in the story, being the antagonist and all, so they're kind of pretty important. So let's break down everything we know about the Fatui Harbingers so far. The Fatui are all extremely strong, and being some of the strongest inhabitants of the Teyvat overall. And even to be compared on par with the archons like Venti or Zhongli. I mean, Venti did get booted by Signora, so you know, yeah. The Fatui come from Snezhnaya, a cold country, and is one of the 7 regions of Teyvat. And just like all other regions in Genshin, they're based on real nations. If you haven't guessed it, Snezhnaya is based on Russia. The nation worships Turista, the courier archon, hence why the Fatui are also loyal to her, and they function as a giant military force under her control. Although the region is not yet released, the region is said to be technologically superior to all other regions so far. This is quite interesting because Fontaine currently is already more superior than all the other places. I mean, they seem to have guns and we use bows and arrows, so I don't know what that means for Snezhnaya. It would be pretty cool to see. The Fatui seem to be very patriotic about their homeland, despite Child telling us that you can literally freeze to death. Yeah, you gotta love some place that much if you literally can die walking to the grocery store. And many people who live there are just happy to be alive. But even regardless of all of this, the Fatui are just about willing to do anything for their home. From, wait, I don't think I could say this all on YouTube. From murder to homicide to political manipulation to human experimentation to extortion, blackmail, you name it. They've done it all. Oh, Genshin's story is a lot more darker than I kind of thought. This kind of just goes to show how determined and dedicated they are to Turista. What's this woman doing that everyone's willing to do all of this for? This is crazy. The 11 Fatui are Piero, also referred to as the Jester, Dotor, also known as the Doctor, Columbina, who is Damselas, we have Capitano, who is of course the Captain, Pulcinella, who is the Rooster, Scaramouche, the Balladeer. Wow, Wonder has a dumb name. Imagine when you call them Balladeer. Sandrone, Marionette, La Signora, the Fair Lady. She was very fair when she booted Venti across the screen. Pantalone, Regretto, and then Arleceno, the Knave. The what? The Knave? Am I saying that right? Who we just saw in the recent 4.0 trailer. The weird dog lady from that dog movie. And finally, Tartaglia, or Child, who is actually the weakest and the youngest of all the Fatui. Firstly, how is he younger than the Wanderer? This guy looks like a literal child, and I'm pretty sure he was probably born yesterday. But no, apparently Mr. Sassy over here is even younger than he is. But I guess I can see the youngest sibling energy creeping in with Child. Just like you have the youngest sibling, you kinda just want to go by the throat and dunk in the bottom of a river. I don't think I can say all this on YouTube. That's basically how Fatui are with Child. They just want to boot him out of there, get this dumb twerp out of this meeting room, who even invited this stupid kid. They really don't get along with him and prefer to keep Child as far away from Snezhnaya as possible, which kind of makes sense. They send him across the globe. I would do that if I could. Send your little brother across the globe. They go get some milk, but only from this very specific store, 1,000 miles away. To make sure, basically, they do all this to make sure he doesn't screw anything up. So yeah, it's kind of nice. Yeah, so they really don't want to be associated with this guy. He's the kind of guy you have to keep busy just so he feels like he's involved, but you really don't want him involved. He's gonna mess everything up. Just like SpongeBob's cousin. He's the outcast of the family. Me too, man. Me too. Anyway, but as you guys would know, we recently fought and actually killed Signora in an Azuma, making the number of Fatui go down to 10. And then the Wanderer removed himself because he's a sassy boy. We don't actually know whether or not Genshin or the Harbingers plan on recruiting anyone to fill in the new empty positions. It's not like the entry requirements to become a Fatui member is all that simple, as either many of the Fatui aren't even human, like Signora is the Crimson Witch of Flames, and Scaramouche, or the Wanderer, is a living puppet that was created to resemble the Electro Archon. We like them with stomach there because one is a 5-foot tall child and the second is a giant Electro woman. I don't know who done that. They kind of messed up big time. So basically it's just Pinocchio. And Child was trained in the Abyss. To summarize, it doesn't really seem like Fatui are looking for normal vision bearers. And upon becoming a Fatui, a person actually given a new name, a code name, like Child's name is actually Tartaglia. And Child, or the Young Lord, is his code name. I didn't even realize that up until now. let's call him Child. And they also assign a ranking number, which is both based on the individual's power and the overall contribution to Tarista's cause. But here's some interesting trivia for you guys. But despite the nation being Russia-inspired, the Fatui Harbingers are actually based after an Italian theatre, Commedia dell'arte. I think I said that right. Someone needs to... I don't know, man, these names are too difficult for me. With each of the Fatui loosely based on the theatre's personality or stock characters. If you guys know anything about this form of Italian theatre or Italian comedy, it was characterized by the masked hypes during the Napoleonic occupation of Italy in the 18th century. Instigators of reform and cities of French imperial rule wore carnival masks to hide their identities while fueling public agendas and changing social rule. And it seems Genshin copied this idea, as all of the 11 Fatui Harbingers are seen wearing masks. And to use the delusion, which is basically the power of the Fatui, the character must be wearing a mask, and the look/shape of the mask and how much of the character face it covers correlates with the delusion's power. But unlike the other Fatui, we spend most of the time with Child throughout the second Archon quest, and for most of the time we actually see Child without his mask. And this detail is heavily derived from the Commedia dell'arte, in which the lover in the Commedia dell'arte are unmasked like the other characters, and despite a few obstacles along the road, these characters reconcile their differences and achieve the happily ever after. And so all of this could foreshadow a lot about Child's fate. Genshin might not yet be done with him, and maybe, just like the Wanderer, he'll also leave the Fatui. And if you want to see how I rank Archelino against the new Genshin 4.0 characters, click this video.